Great to see entrepreneurs. I believe here we have women that are building billion-dollar companies and even way more than that. I've been able to go through some of the profiles of what you guys are building, and I must say that there's not just length and breadth, there's depth across what you guys are building. I'm seeing people tackling from SMEs. I'm seeing people trying to support other entrepreneurs. I'm seeing people trying to build stuff around fashion. I'm seeing people trying to build stuff around hardware. And I think that was the most surprising one for me. I saw people building hardware, right? Because hardware, in the name itself, is even hard, right? To see people take on very, very deep problems makes me so much excited to have this conversation with you guys. So it's not going to be more of me telling you guys, what to do. It's basically going to be more of me kind of like sharing my experience, building my company, right? Some of the lessons that I've learned. And I want you guys to know that the advice I'm going to be giving you is directionally good. Right. What I mean by directionally good is that, the advice are well-intentioned. They want to get you to a very good place. But at the same time, everybody has a unique business. Everybody has a unique strategy. Everybody has a unique market. And as much as I've had a lot of breadth across different markets, there's not a lot of things that I've seen. Right. So meaning that you might have a contrarian opinion that could be fantastic and could work very well for you, right? So take it like that. Directionally good advice, but at the same time, if there's conviction that you have, you need to be able to, that conviction needs to stand the test of, testing, stand the test of hypothesis, stand the test of experiments, not just about having conviction, it has to bear its own ground in reality. And that's what I'm going to be having a conversation with you guys around. Just confirm if you guys can hear me. Am I audible, guys? All right. Okay, so I'm gonna get to meet you guys in a moment. My name is first of all, I'm going to start by showing you guys of two things. My name is Reward. I'm sure it's not a nickname, it's my actual real name, in case you're wondering. And second thing is that I'm a Nigerian. Yeah, I know it doesn't look like that, but yes, I am. So now that we have that out of the way, let's get into it, right? So I'm going to be talking to you guys about idea, customer market validation, right? How many of you guys here are free to share your ideas because you think somebody's going to steal it? Raise your hand, just wave your hand. If you think somebody's going to steal your idea, if you share it, wave your hands. You believe your idea is so good, right? That if you share this idea with a couple of people, okay, let's say one person, any other person, okay, I've seen another one, I've seen a third, I've seen a fourth, I've seen okay. Any other person whereby you feel like your idea is so good, right? That if you share it, somebody is going to steal it, right? Now, it's not like you're a bad person for not wanting to share your ideas, right? It all simply comes from the fact that of how we've always thought about ideas and how people have taught us about ideas, how people talked about ideas. They tell you that Mark Zuckerberg had an idea, right? And he built Facebook. And then if any of you have watched Silicon Valley, the movie, right? You might have seen things like somebody's trying to steal his idea or he stole somebody's idea, and it was just a battle of ideas, right? Everybody was just battling different ideas and the idea won. Right? Or you see someone like Elon Musk. Elon Musk has an idea, right? And then he built an idea. It's a billion-dollar company, a multi-billion-dollar company. It's even a trillion. It's also going to be the first trillionaire. And it's like this idea, right? So that is kind of like a directionally good story to tell, but it's a very, very incomplete one. And I'll tell you guys why it is so incomplete. The reason why it's so incomplete is that it just simplifies the entire journey, right, of what it means to build an actual successful company, right? When I started out, I'm sure many of us have you guys had any idea that you thought that this idea fell from heaven into your head and then you saw somebody doing it? Anybody? Raise your hands. You had a very good idea. You thought that this was a good idea and then you saw somebody doing it, right? And you were surprised because you're like, I thought it was only me that had this idea. I was sitting down under the tree an apple fell on my head, and that's why I have the idea, and somebody else was building it. So what is this to tell you that, ideas are not unique to you, right? Ideas are not unique to you, right? Everybody comes up with ideas. In fact, ideas have been generated every single day. People are generating ideas, right? There was a time whereby you see some ideas that it looks crazy to you, but those ideas become ideas that become big successes, right? It becomes so much big successes. So we've looked at two things. We've looked at the fact that you have your idea and you don't want to share your idea because you feel like your idea is a multi-billion-dollar company. It could be, right? And then also you've seen the fact that you've thought about ideas, and you've also seen people that have those same ideas, right? Or closely related ideas, or they're coming at it from a different angle. And that's because of the problem, right, is universal, right? Or the problem, and people experience that problem. You're not the only one experiencing that problem. And if you are the only one experiencing that problem, it means that you cannot build a company out of that problem, because only you cannot be the customer. So there are going to be markets whereby there are thousands of people that are experiencing a particular problem. There are millions of people that are experiencing a particular problem, or there are billions of people that are experiencing a particular problem, right? So to talk about how, looking at ideas, and I want to start by addressing of why you should share your ideas. The thing is that when you don't share your ideas, right, you think you're doing something good, right? Most of the entrepreneurs, right, the idea you start out with is not what you finish with, right? Because the most important thing is the market, right? The market is what's going to tell you, oh, I'm going to pay for this, right? Sometimes the market is going to tell you, I don't care about what you're doing, I'm not going to pay for it, right? And you cannot sustain it, right? And also there's some things that cannot be businesses, right? They can be good for NGOs. And I've seen a lot of people that have very good, kind-hearted people, and they want to build something that's going to impact people's life, genuinely want to build something that's going to impact people's lives, right? But at the same time, it does not have the mechanics to be a business. So they take that idea, they want to do it as a business, but it is not designed to survive as a business. It could work as an NGO, but it was not designed to survive as a business. So those stuff closes shop because they don't understand what are the connections of the business, right? So what about sharing an idea? Why I said that when people talk about ideas, they oversimplify it, is that for you to build something directionally good for an idea, it takes on average, especially if you're trying to build something really, really big, right? It takes on average about 10 years for you to build it. It takes about 10 years for you to build it, right? Meaning that a decade of your life building it, a decade of your life experimenting, a decade of your life learning, right? And then, for example, how many of us know that YouTube can pay us $1 million here? That you could be a millionaire as a YouTuber? Raise your hand if you believe that. Or you know that YouTube can pay people you can become a millionaire with YouTube. Do you guys know that? You could become a millionaire with YouTube. Okay? You could become a millionaire with YouTube. There's the Mr. Beast there, there's KSI, those guys are multi-millionaires, and they started out from YouTube, right? The question I'm going to ask you is, why are you not doing YouTube? If YouTube can make you a millionaire, why are you not doing YouTube? Does anybody want to ask that? Why are you not doing YouTube? YouTube can make people millionaires, right? If you let's not look too far. Look at the Nigerian YouTubers, Fisayo. You look at Steve Nduku. You look at a lot of them. You look at how them Gilmore and the rest of them started out YouTube. Mark Angel is a very rich man, millionaire in dollars and all of these things. So YouTube will definitely make people millionaires. But why are you not doing YouTube? Now, the reason is that not because of you don't know that YouTube cannot make people millionaires, but it's because of the level of work that it takes, and being that you're not suited to that type of work, or that's not the kind of work that you want to do. Even though you know YouTube can make you a millionaire, you're not doing YouTube. You're deciding to do something else. So you see that the idea alone, or share your idea alone, is not what makes people, right, to steal your idea. So another thing is that your ideas are going to get better over time. right? Because the market is going to teach you. When we started out building our company, we had a hypothesis that we wanted to build, right? We started out with that. And I remember an investor asking me that time when I was talking to him about it. He was like, what if somebody tries to steal this stuff? I'm like, yo, you can't steal it, right? But what we are doing is we've seen the trajectory of how we're growing, and we have been learning from the market. In fact, what we thought we knew about the problem was not even close to what we're doing. So if somebody's trying to copy us, you will always have to be at the back. If somebody's trying to copy you, they will always have to be at the back. So another thing also is that when you share your ideas, you think your ideas are the ones that are going to take over the world, right? But you don't understand that it doesn't really make sense, right? But you're not going to know that if you don't talk about your ideas. Another thing is that when you talk about your ideas, you can be able to get customers and be able to understand where your market is, right? Who are these people that's going to care about this stuff, right? When we started out with building out Scalo, right? Even without building out the product, I was already talking about the idea. I was reaching out to businesses. In fact, I spoke to hundreds of businesses. I spoke to hundreds of people to understand how they were dealing with this problem, right? And we closed contracts even without the product. Now, that made me realize that, there's something here, and I could put my time and my efforts into it. So if you're trying to keep up your idea, understand that your idea is what do they say? There is a dime a dozen. So meaning that put 12 of your ideas together, it is simply a dime. And number two is that it underestimates, when you talk about ideas, it underestimates the amount of level of insane work, right? The reason why I can do what I do, and I'm not afraid that somebody's just going to steal my idea, because it's nothing like stealing your idea, is that it is the insane amount of work we have to do. I pity the people that want to do the work I'm doing, because you're going to so suffer, right? It is so painful that I'm like, please come and join me. Let's do it together, right? Please, let's participate. Let's all of us suffer what I'm suffering so that we can all feel it together, right? The only way whereby people feel like their ideas, people steal their ideas, is that your idea is not really an idea. It's just what you thought made sense. And because of you kept it internally, the market has moved on for you and gotten something better. So idea, customer, market validation. These are three key things here about ideas, right? I'm not going to focus so much about ideas. I'm going to break down those ideas into problems and solutions. A lot of you are so obsessed about your solution that you lose sight of the problem. For example, what's the thing that is coming in now is AI, right? I want to build an AI solution, all right? And then you use an AI to build something else. So I was talking with a young founder last week, right? And then he came to me, he said, Vivon, please, I'm trying to sell, I'm a developer. I'm trying to sell a website to a very large eatery at a place somewhere. And I was like, okay, that's good. He was like, oh, I don't know how to sell, bro. I want to sell them the website. I'm going to charge them 700K. I'm going to build the website so that people can order from their website and all of those things. And then I asked him, okay, why would they want a website? He said, oh, it's for their brand, so that people can see them and visualize them and so on and so forth. And then I asked him, all of the times you've gone to an eatery, when was ever the first time in your life you went to look for that eatery's website for you to place an order? He could not give me one time. Well, at first, he was focused on the solution because, if I can build them a website that has all of these fancy things, then they are going to get it. And I said, okay, to the business, they understand their customer behavior. None of their customers go to look for their website before they come into the eatery. So having a website does not add any value to them. Number two, a lot of times you feel like, my stuff is going to create so much value, right? But we don't realize that your stuff, even if it is free, has a lot of cost to it. And I told him, you want to give them a website. Do you know that they will now have to start getting somebody that will be updating that website regularly? Number one. Number two, what happens if somebody books through their website, right? And the person comes in and they say food has finished. The person has said, give me my money back. How would they start doing the whole process of giving them their money back? So do you see that your website instead of just solving problems for them, has added more problems that they did not have before. And that's what a lot of us don't understand. We look at our ideas and we think about our ideas in terms of, oh, I'm going to deliver this value to these people. But at the same time, we don't recognize that our solution that we're bringing is going to add cost. And those are what we call invisible costs. So even if you're giving your products for free, it doesn't mean it is free. So the business, and sometimes this was something I struggled with, because I was like, this solution is for free now. Why they not jumping on it now? I'm trying to solve their problem, blah, 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 right? But they were looking at my free solution and they were looking at, oh, I'm going to do this, I'm going to have that, we're going to have this, we're going to have that. So they were speaking one language and I was speaking another language. So idea, customer, and market validation. You guys are at the very, I think a lot of you guys are still beginning out on your journey to building a company, right? Some of you want to build this as a lifestyle business, which is okay. There are different types of business depending on what you want to do. Some of you want to raise money from other investors and build out a large company, which is what you want to do. So the question I'm going to ask you is, how many of us here have been operating a business for more than 12 months? How many of us have been operating a business for more than 12 months? Raise your hand if you have. You've been operating your business or your idea for more than 12 months, right? Raise your hand if you have. Anybody here more than 12 months, doing more than 12 months currently? Okay. I think we have one hand up for, okay, I think we have two. Okay, so very lot of you. So just like I said, very early in your journey. How many of you guys have made money from your business? You've delivered your service or your product, and people have paid money for it. Anybody here have paid money for it? I think I said, because I think it's like a hand off, right? Okay. Blessing, are you able to tell us about your business? What are you selling? Is it a product? Is it a service? Can you do that?
Okay, good. Yes, good morning. So
Yes.
I'm actually a female mechanic, so I repair cars.
Okay.
Then I do diagnostics for people. So in the process of being able to sell my business is that I went to all these local mechanics, that's by all these roadside mechanics that
Okay.
do through trial and error. You know, most of them, they don't have the diagnostics machine to know what exactly is wrong with the car. So I
Okay.
meet them and tell them, okay, I have a diagnostics machine. I can diagnose for you, and they'll pay me after diagnosing. Then for vehicle owners too, I diagnose for them. I do engine service for them too.
Okay, diagnostics. Okay.
Yeah.
So when you say diagnostics, is it the expertise they don't have, or just the machine that they don't have?
Yeah, it's just that it's the machine that they don't have. That's for the roadside mechanics. But when we are
Okay.
talking of the vehicle owners, they don't have both
Okay.
the expertise and the machine.
And how long have you been doing this business for?
So now I've been in that's like 2 years now.
2 years. Okay.
Yes.
So okay, so for 2 years, and I'm guessing you've been paid for your services, right?
Yes.
Has it just been you, single person running the business, or do you have a team, or do you have people that are working with you on the business?
Currently, I'm trying to build a team, but I already have one person. That's in the essence that if I get the job and I can't do it alone, we'll go together. If he gets the job, we'll go together to do it. Like that's how we have been doing it.
Okay, okay. Give me, what is your average pricing? What's your average pricing? What does it cost?
Okay. Like for the diagnostics for very mechanic, like that's now is between mechanics to mechanics. I do
Okay,
collect 15,000 naira. That's for small cars. Then when we are
okay,
talking of SUVs, I collect 20K. That's to
okay,
diagnose for them. But if it is for vehicle owners, it's 20,000 naira for small cars.
okay. So what is the unique thing that you've seen about this market, right? In your 2 years of solving this problem? What's something that you've seen that you've learned from the market?
The thing I learned is that everything I've known, is not enough. I still need to learn more. Even after diagnosing and doing everything, you still have to learn more because the automobile industry is very broad. You can't learn everything at once. Even if you are in the industry for 15, 20 years, you see there are some things that you have never come across. But from being able to work with people, ask questions and all that, I see that you still need to learn more. That's exactly
Okay.
what is happening there.
Okay. So
So
your
I know
relationship with Netflix, right? Um,
yeah.
what's the retention like? Did they call you continuously? What's the relationship looking like?
Yes, for the mechanics, yes, they do call consistently. And even vehicle owners, that's those that are around me that I already know that I've been able to sell myself to. They do call when they have any lights coming up on their dashboard, and I'll be able to give them solutions to it. So with the people I have, they still call consistently.
Okay. Okay. So thank you very much, Blessing, for contributing your insights to this. We're still going to talk more. I'm going to ask you a couple of questions more as we go into it. Now, one of the things about ideas, I don't want to say ideas. I want us to throw away the concept of ideas, right? I want us to work with problems, right? Not all problems are the same, right? Not all problems have the same value to the same people. Because if you hear from what Blessing said, Blessing said if you have a small car, she's going to charge you 15,000. If you have a larger car, she's going to charge you 20,000 there. Is it not the same diagnostics, right? But to different people, she's having a much higher price, right? For different customers. So what you want to focus on is problems, right? One of the fundamental things about problems is that most of the times those problems remain constant, right? So the problems do not necessarily change, except there be some material change in structure or the way the world works. But most of the times problems are still problems. For example, since the beginning of time, we've been trying to solve the problem of communication. That's what we've been trying to do since the beginning of time, right? The problem of communication is what led to the starting of the telephone, right? It's what led to the invention of the radio. It's what led to the invention of the TV. It's what led to the invention of social media. It's what led to the invention of movement. It's what led to the invention of mails. What have we been trying to solve since the beginning of time? Communication. So the problem has been there, right? But the solutions have evolved. The solutions have adapted. The solutions have changed, right? So a lot of times we think about solutions and we try to fit that solutions into a problem that it is not designed for. Now, what I'm going to do for you guys is to move the shift from this is my solution. I want to build AI. I want to build a tech platform. I want to build a hardware to really focus on what is the problem I am solving and for whom am I solving that problem for. So I'm going to take two people, right, that you want to try out to say, this is the problem I'm solving, and this is for whom I'm solving that problem for. Does anybody want to take that? So tell me, just unmute your microphone, right? Talk to me. Tell me, this is the problem I'm solving. Let's say it's going to be a fun exercise. This is the problem I'm solving, and this is for whom I am solving that problem for. Ladies, please, let's be proactive. Let's move on. Okay, so just take up the microphone and tell us what problem you're solving. Yeah, absolutely. Please go on.
Okay, thank you. Okay, good morning. Thank you so much for
Yeah.
everything. So my idea
Okay.
is about working with AI to like prototypes for those people find it hard to find maybe specific sizes. You know, there are some people who they want to order clothes and they want to take a particular gets to them. They find it difficult to actually wear those clothes, or some are oversized, some are undersized. Given this, what I ordered versus what kind of vibe. So I'm a graphic designer, and if I could go in AI, I could create maybe
Let's
virtual models that you put in your body
Epsiba, you're going
size, that's the sizes of just the
Epsiba, can
same
you hear
way a
me?
tailor would take your measurement. Just the same way a
Epsiba,
tailor would
let's
take
take it
your
one step at
measurement.
a time.
Sir?
Let's take
Yes,
it
I
one
can hear you.
let's focus on the problem. The problem you've mentioned is,
Yes,
people
okay.
getting people trying to order online, right? Or to try to buy products online and
Yeah.
not getting their right measurements. That is the problem. We'll come back to the solution in a bit, right? Now, for who exactly? Is this for everybody, or is there a specific person that this problem is more painful for? Um, do you know who is feeling this problem, or who are you trying to solve this problem for?
Okay. The problem is for, did I say everybody, and also those in the fashion world, I think.
And also for what? Hello, can you hear me? Okay, I think we lost Hepzibah. But Hepzibah stated a very should be for who? The problem should be for who?
Okay. I said the problem is for everybody, everyone who orders clothes online.
Okay. Not everyone orders clothes
And
online.
those in the fashion industry.
Not everyone orders clothes online. I, for one, do not. Right? I don't like. I have like a tailor. Right? In fact, I like all my clothes. I try to sew almost all my clothes. Right? Even the most contemporary ones. So I have like a tailor that handles that. Right? He has my measurements. Right? And I don't face that problem. And that's what I want you to, that's what I want us to dissect now. We want to start out with a problem. You said a very beautiful problem. People that are trying to order online without getting the right measurements for their clothes or for their shoes. Where the disconnect is now is everybody cannot be a customer. And I'll give you some examples. There are people that face challenges with, for example, copper uniforms, right? Some coppers don't get the right sizes for their stuff. They often have to go and mend it. They have to go and adjust it. They have to go and do all of those things. The way you solve that problem for coppers is different from when you solve that problem for people that are just trying to order online. If you look at schools, right? Schools that have students, whereby there are schools that they sew their clothes for the students, right? The way you solve that problem is different. Remember, the same problem is all about people not getting the right measurements for their clothes or for their shoes. But depending on who you're trying to solve that problem for, the way that problem is solved is going to be vastly different. For example, look at milk, right? They have milk for babies, right? I think they have milk for 0 to 2 years, right? The babies that don't really have teeth, right? Milk, right? They have milk for, I think the one that are for young children. And what's the name of that milk? They have milk for young children. They say milk from 2 years to 12 years for young children, right? You have milk for adults. What are they trying to sell at the end of the day? Milk. It's still milk, right? But depending on who you're trying to sell to, your solution would be different. So that's why your customer cannot be everybody when you are just starting out on your journey. One, because you don't have the resources to compete with the people that are already serving those customers. Two, you want to start out with a very small market that you can easily become number one. You can easily win that market. So, for example, if you say, yes, I want to solve the problem of people not getting the right clothes or the right shoes when they make a purchase or when they make an order. But I'm not just going to try selling to everyone first. I want to try selling to schools, right? Because I know that, okay, there's the way that I have access to a couple of schools and I can get my first customer and I can get my second customer. And then after that, I can then expand and then start covering more markets. So your customer cannot be everyone. But very beautiful problem, right? You stand out with a problem, but we're going to see why your customer cannot be everyone, right? Because a small business, imagine you're starting out and you're trying to compete with some of the conglomerates, or trying to compete with some of the very big guys. That is a journey that is very, very, very painful one to be on. Do you understand? So problem, well, regardless, your solution, your problem has to be specific for who are you trying to solve that problem. And it's okay if you don't know yet, right? That's what this journey is for, right? The essence of what we're going to do is that we're going to figure out which of the people that have this problem that you want to solve for, should you solve the problem for at the end of the day, or should you start selling the problem for? Hepzibah, is that okay? Have we lost?
Yes, it is. Thank you.
Yeah, so we're going to come back to it, right? And hopefully by the end of this session, you already have a game plan for where you're starting from.
Yes,
Please.
I've gotten my answer. Thank you.
Okay. So this doesn't mean that we're going to reduce our ambition for world domination. No, we are going to dominate the world, right? But we're going to be very strategic with how we are planning our way to dominate the world. Toby Loba, I think I saw you raise your hand. Do you want to tell us your problem? And for whom are you solving that problem for? Not talk about solution yet, just the problem and who has that problem that you want to solve it for.
Okay, good morning everyone. So the
Good morning.
problem I'm seeing is access to quality home care. So my target audience, so the problem I think that I'm solving this for would be patients that maybe they've just gone through surgery, or I haven't niched down there, like it's very broad because it's home care, but I have like a couple of group of people. So patients who have
All right.
just had surgery, or
Okay.
mothers who have just given birth, or who want to give birth. They want the entire process at home. Another group is cancer patients, or patients that need palliative care. Palliative basically means they have like terminal illness or something. Then another group would be patients that have wounds, patients that need wound care, but they want it to be at home. So yeah, those are the 4 groups. Yeah.
Amazing. So we're going to look, well, the problem you're solving is, we're solving after hospital care or after surgery care for I would say, what's the language of it? So after home care, after surgery care or after hospital care for people that really need it, just to put it in very plain English, for people that really need it, to avoid complications, to avoid to ensure that they get better health. Of course, you mentioned some very important sub-segments of that market, which is very okay. So guys, I want all of us to note 4 things. Thank you, Tony Loba, for that. I want you guys to know 4 things, and then you're going to describe your problem, right, and your solution under those 4 things. Are we ready? 4 things. 4 important things. Look at urgent. I call it the 4 U's of problem. Look at urgency. Have we noted that down? Look at unworkable. Do we have that? So you describe that your problem in unworkable, urgent, underserved, and unavoidable. So these are the 4 U's for problem solving. 4 U's of problem solving. Is it unworkable? Is it unavoidable? Is it urgent? Is it underserved? These are the kind of four important U's that you need to break down your problem into, right? I'll take it again. Unworkable, unavoidable, urgent, and underserved. Do we all have that? So I'm going to run through each of them, right, in a bit with examples, right? I will run through each of them with examples. I want you guys to describe your problem, your solution, according to those 4 U's that have been described, right? So I'm going to start out with unavoidable. Let's say that the 2 most important things, right, is taxes and debt. Those are the 2 most unavoidable things in life, the things that are guaranteed in life, that you have to pay taxes and everybody will have to die, right? So when you talk about unavoidable, what aspect of your problem or the stuff that you're trying to solve that is unavoidable, right? Because if somebody can do without your solution, right, they might not be the best customers for you to focus on. They might not be the best customers for you to target. Are you getting me? So unavoidable. For example, right? Tony Loba mentioned has the problem that she's trying to solve. I'll give you expo with this one. So the problem she wants to solve is for people that have had very serious ailments, probably after surgery, and they need care. Most people cannot avoid it because it is their life. If they don't get the care that they need, whether that care comes to them at home or they have to go to the hospital to get that care, if they don't get that care, the chances of them surviving is very bleak. Do you understand? Guys, do we understand that? Do we understand what unavoidable means? Give me thumbs up if we understand what unavoidable is. Okay, get a couple of hands, get a couple of apps. So, simply putting it, unavoidable is that the problem is unavoidable. People must deal with it, whether they like it or not, right? So, for example, you look at what other problem is unavoidable, right? You look at, is this something that they can ignore? For example, somebody might be like, oh, I'm selling a watch, right? I'm selling a watch, right? Can somebody do without a watch? Yeah, right? I mean, if you have your phone to tell you the time and you're not a fashionably aesthetic person, you can do without a watch, right? But now imagine that same watch, but you're trying to sell a watch to a deep sea diver. That is now becoming unavoidable because inside that sea, they have to be very precise about how long they are staying underwater. Because if they stay even a minute longer than they should, the chances that they die is going to be so high. So you see that we have, what are people selling? Watch. But there are some people that are trying to sell a watch to that it is avoidable. They can do without it. It's not much of a problem. But there are some specific set of people that you want to sell a watch to. It's a matter of life and death for them. Same watch. Maybe not the same structure of the work, but watch. Right? So for an unavoidable problem, the questions you want to ask yourself is, can these customers I want to reach simply ignore the problem? Number 2, how does this problem affect them? If you're trying to sell to customers, does it affect their well-being? Does it affect their social status? Does it affect their money? Does it affect the things that they love and they care about? In what way does it affect them? If you're trying to sell to businesses, does it affect their revenue? Does it affect, their legal standing, right? Compliance? Does it affect their operations? Does it affect how they grow, right? So when you're solving an unavoidable problem, it means that whether you're selling to businesses, you're selling to people, it means that they must deal with that problem whether they like it or not. So when you look at, when you've written out your problem, right, and writing out your customers you want to sell to, now check for unavoidable and note it down. To these customers that I'm selling this problem, I'm selling this solution to, is it unavoidable, right? Even though I know that it's going to be good for them, they are going to need it, right? But is it unavoidable that they have to so much, if they don't use this, it is going to so much impact their life negatively, right? So that is for unavoidable. We're looking at unworkable, right? So we're looking at unworkable. Do we get the unavoidable part if I go into the unworkable? Did we get the unavoidable part? Okay, that's cool.
Yes, I do.
Right. So for unworkable, we're looking at the way the problem is being solved. It is so frustrating, it is expensive, and it can cause devastating consequences. So when the problem is unworkable, it means that the way that people going about it now, it is so inefficient, it is so frustrating, it is so expensive, and it's so ineffective. I'll give you an example, right, of an unworkable problem. I don't know about you guys, but when I went to school, right, we had remitter, right? I think remitter is how you make payments as a student, right? But then when we were our set, when we're dealing with remitter, you had to go to the bank at very precise hours of the day. If you go after, they'll tell you that the network is down and remitter is no longer available. So you sometimes you will go to the bank, you will line up. There'll be a line of like 100 people. You will stand for 6 hours for you to make payments for your school fees, right? That is an example of an unworkable problem because the way that people solve it currently, it is so inefficient, it is so frustrating, it is so expensive, right? And people hate it, right? People hate it. So one of the questions you want to ask yourself is what are the current ways that people are trying to solve this problem that I'm giving to them? If people are not trying to solve the problem, then it means that you're not solving an unworkable problem. If people don't have frustrations concerning it and they are very okay with their solution, I've seen a lot of people that try to sell a better solution to people that have a good enough solution. So it's a good enough solution, meaning that they don't. It's not like if it's bothering them. It's not a problem. But your stuff is nice, right? They like your stuff is nice, but you're not telling them to pay money. So they're like, I'm okay with what I'm doing. You don't need, right? So it's not a workable problem. So for example, you want to look at many. So that's different way you look at unworkable. Then I'm going to go into urgent. The problem is urgent when delayed action creates immediate pain or opportunity loss. That's when you're looking at the problem is urgent. A problem is urgent when delayed action creates immediate pain or opportunity loss. Right? So meaning that, hey, you're telling them that if you don't solve this problem, it's going to be terrible. For example, if Tony Loba is talking to somebody that just had their surgery or somebody that is a terminally ill patient, every second that person is waiting is directly affecting their lives. Every single second that they spend not doing anything about it, they are losing their life. It's an urgent problem. I'm giving you too much expo. So a problem is urgent when delayed action creates immediate pain or opportunity loss. So the questions you want to ask yourself here is, what will happen to the customer if they wait 6 months to solve this problem? For example, and the first example that I gave you guys with the guy that wanted to sell a website to a very restaurant, and whether those people have the website now, they don't have the website the next 6 months, it will change nothing materially for them. It's a good thing, it's a nice to have, but it's not a big deal, right? They won't suffer. They're not going to lose money, right? If they don't have a website. Second thing you want to ask yourself is money being lost every day? Or are they losing time every day? I would say here in Nigeria, we don't so much value time. We equate value with how much we are suffering on the time part. So, but most importantly, is money being lost every day? Are they losing money? What are they missing out? Is it urgent, right? So, for example, you're telling somebody that, hey, you have to do your ashwebi, right? You have to do your ashwebi, right? If you don't get your measurements right for your ashwebi, right, your wedding is going to be a mess, and your wedding is in 2 weeks. So you have 2 weeks to solve this problem. Wow, that is urgent, right? Because if your customer wakes up and you are the number 100th thing that they will think about, it's very important. They might not even think about it for the rest of that day, right? And that's a problem for you as a business. The last thing I want to mention is on the sound. So these are the 4 E's. On the sound, A problem is underserved when existing solutions don't adequately serve a customer segment. So meaning that, so for example, there's this particular, for example, when people were looking at Paystack helps people collect payments, right? Um, for those that wanted to, if you were not a large business in the early 2015s or 2014s, the only people that could collect payments online, you had to pay a company called InterSwitch. They will take a lot of time before they get back to you, and you pay them money, right? And you are not a big business. They don't go to reason you till when they get back to you. So meaning that you are not able to collect payment online, the process is very difficult and you're not getting the benefit. So what the Paystack so that are small businesses, your businesses are starting out, that they need to collect payment, right? And Paystack designed the solution to serve those people. So what you're looking at is the questions you want to ask yourself to see if the market is underserved is, are customers ignored by major providers? Are customers ignored? So they're trying to serve rich people. You are like, but there's this set of people that are being ignored, though, right? Oh, they're trying to serve non-students. We say, students need this thing, but nobody's selling to them. Everybody's ignoring them, right? Or they are trying to serve these people. I think I met somebody that was building a financial software for churches, right? Most people don't wake up and think that churches need financial software, because most people look at them and be like, churches are their wahala. They are not a business whereby their own is to maximize profit, right? So more people don't build for churches, right? But they need solutions that can help them manage administrative processes and all of those things, right? But they are largely ignored because people feel like the market is not huge, or the market is not worth it for them to put their time. Even mosques, people that in Islam, right? They have mosques. How do they manage their mosques? How do they do all of those things? Nobody is building. There are very few people building software for them. They are underserved. Nobody wants to put effort and time to build stuff for them, right? So you want to look at, customers ignored. These customers you want to reach, are they ignored by the big guys, right? Are there solutions that are designed? So the solutions are available, but it's not really designed for them, right? It's designed for other audiences, but nobody has built something for these specific people that you want to reach, right? That's so you want to look at, you want to evaluate your problem and the solution in terms of, is it unworkable, right? So for workable, what you're looking at is the way that people are solving it is so problematic, and it has so much heavy consequences when it is not solved properly. You want to look at, is it unavoidable, right? It means that whether they run, right, whatever they're doing, they have to come and face that problem, right? You want to look at, is it urgent, and is it underserved, right? Is there a customer segment that is being ignored? And that is why your customer cannot be everybody, because your customers do not relate in the same direction. So meaning that your best chance of success is that you want to start out from a customer segment that this is unworkable for, it is unavoidable for, it is very urgent, and it is underserved. Now, you might not have a customer segment whereby all of them are scoring 4/4, right? But you might have 3/4 is okay. 2/4, you would have to be very, very good to push the business if it's 2/4. 1/4, it really depends on what the 1/4 is, right? Better chances when it is very urgent, right? So meaning that people want the solution, right? But any other, if it's unworkable, it's going to take a lot of time, right? Because they are not in a hurry. Everybody knows that universities have one of the slowest processes in this life. It is inefficient, it is difficult, it's all of these things, right? But are they in a hurry to solve it? No, they are not, right? I've seen a lot of people that have built solutions for university management, and they'll look at them and say, good, nice idea, right? But we'll do nothing about it, right? So 1/4 is very dicey. It means that you as a founder would have to be very resilient and very strong, right? If you have 4/4, that is going to be very beautiful. Does anybody here have 4/4? Does anybody here have 4/4? I'm thinking the people that have their hands raised already were from the previous people that I was speaking to. Does anybody have 4/4? Your problem you're solving is unworkable. It is underserved. It is urgent. So tell you, I've given you expo, but talk to us. Your the four key things. How does your solution or your problem that you're solving fall into those places?
Okay, thank you very much. So yes, I think that it is urgent in that um it deals directly with quality of life and the life of people. And yes, I think it's urgent, and I think it's urgent because it's related to the fact that it is unworkable. Currently, access to healthcare, and let me speak from the perspective of maybe access to healthcare in public facilities is very, very frustrating, very, very inefficient. And yeah, so I think both of them work hand in hand. There a lot of lives that have been lost or ended badly because of how the public sector is generally operated, public health sector, right? I also think it's underserved. The problem is that the way healthcare is currently being approached, um there's no there's a lot of, I mean, okay, so everybody, I don't know if you're in Nigeria or you have a healthcare person, you probably have heard of nurses, doctors, a lot of people traveling outside the country, for better opportunities and all of that. So I feel like it is underserved because the way we're taking healthcare right now in Nigeria is not, we're not, um, we don't have a lot of hands, we don't have a lot of people, we don't have a lot of healthcare. We still have a number of healthcare workers, but day by day, people are migrating out of the country. We have, no, I think I'm saying it backwards. Sorry, we have a large workforce that we have, okay, let me speak these nurses. We have a large workforce of nurses. Nurses generally, they are a lot. Numbers of nurses are much more than other healthcare professions, and it's like they're not being utilized properly, right? Um, so we have we have sorry, my thoughts are just all over the place. But yeah, I think that it's underserved in the sense that the solution we have for healthcare right now, the way the healthcare system is being run, is we're not thinking about, oh, how can we use these numbers? How can we make healthcare better such that, oh, nurses are no longer leaving the country, doctors are no longer leaving the country? How can we make the working conditions better for them? Right? How can nurses and doctors earn better, on their own, with better than what we currently have? How can patients get um better healthcare services? Like, it's very frustrating to have to go to a public hospital right now. You waste a lot of time. You might not get properly attended to. In fact, for people that have probably gotten properly diagnosed or well treated, or their lives have been saved, they probably had to know somebody that knows somebody, or they probably had to go to different hospitals multiple times. Like, I could list a number of problems, right? So I think that speaks to it's being underserved. And then like you said, it's unavoidable. Health is basically something that if you don't attend to, you can literally die. It's a life or death issue. So yeah, the solution I want to create speaks to easily having access to people that are skilled, verified, and all of that. So
All
yeah,
right.
I think
Can you hear me?
yes, I can.
I'm audible, guys. All right. So what you're going to do, Loba, is this assignment is also for everybody here. Is you're going to pick about 3 customer segments, right? So now your problem and 3 customer segments, right? I think you mentioned about 4 to Loba what you're mentioning. So you want to, for each of these customer segments, you want to walk through the 4 U's and see which of them fall. Whether is it unavoidable for this particular people. Is it unworkable for this particular people? Is it underserved for this particular people? So for each of your customer segments, that's what I want everyone to do, right? Pick about 3 or 4 different customer segments, right, that can need your solution and walk them through the 4 U's and see which of them follow that. Like I said, even if you don't have 4/4, doesn't mean that your solution is terrible. It just means that there's a lot more work to be done, right? Meaning that you're going to pull through a lot of work to be done for you to get to there. So it's not you don't have that, and that's it. That's not what it means, right? So thank you very much, Loba. Any other person want to take one more person, because I have like a lot of stuff to cover, which I want to blitz through, because we spent a lot of time. Jewel, you raised your hand. Do you want to go?
Sorry, sir. Excuse me, sir.
Okay, please go on.
Sir, please, I have a question. I don't understand that unworkable and unavoidable point.
Okay. So unavoidable, when you're talking about unavoidable, what you're talking about in unavoidable is that they must deal with that, for this particular set of people, they must deal with that problem whether they like it or not. They cannot just ignore the problem, right? Because the problem is going to affect them in a very significant way. So for example, when somebody has a headache, right? You hear a lot of people say, oh, I can just sleep and wake up, the headache is gone, or I just need to drink water, the headache is done. So it's an avoidable problem, because they can simply ignore it, right? And most of the times they'll be okay. It gets to a point whereby it's like, they woke up throwing up and vomiting everywhere, right? That is no longer an avoidable problem, meaning that they have to get to the hospital, they have to get to the pharmacy as fast as possible. Right. So when your customers can ignore the problem, you tell the customer, say, for example, I used the example of the gentleman that wanted to sell a website to a restaurant. The restaurant could ignore the problem because, yes, do they need to have a website? Yes, but they could ignore it because it doesn't really affect them, right? You might argue that they will make more money if they have a website, but it's not guaranteed, right? So they can simply ignore the risk of not having a website and they will still be okay. So what you want to look at for when you're trying to solve a problem for a particular customer segment, you want to look at this problem for this particular set of people. Can they just ignore it? If they can ignore it, and even though it's going to cause them a little bit of discomfort, but it's not that important, right? That they will worry so much about it. They can simply ignore it and move on with their life. And how does it affect them, right? Does it really affect them if it's a business? Does it affect them in making money? For a business, if it affects them in making money, for example, how many of you know that MTN, Airtel, you can no longer borrow airtime, extra time from them anymore? Do we all know that, right? You can't borrow extra time stuff for them again anymore, right? What happened? There was a regulation that said, you know what, guys, you guys have to comply with this. If not, suspend our service. If you look at MTN's financials, they were making billions of naira lending airtime to people. It was one of their most successful ventures, but now it has affected them. That was a problem that was unavoidable. They needed to find a way to solve that problem, and they're still looking for a way to solve that problem because that problem is not yet solved. Imagine you have a solution to solving that problem for them. They will hug you, right? They're like, whatever you need, help us solve this problem, right? That's an example of an unavoidable problem, right? So you want to look at, can my customers ignore the problem? Yes, they might have a bit of discomfort. Yes, it might touch them in some way, but it's not so much that they have to be so agitated about it. Did you get that?
Yes, I did.
Yeah. So we're looking at an unworkable problem, right? When you're looking at an unworkable problem is that the way they are solving it, right? The way they are solving that problem is so frustrating, right? It is expensive, it is ineffective. Like the way they are solving that problem is so crazy, right? And I'll give you an example. Example for those that went to the university, right, with the remitter situation, you would have to stand in a line for 6 hours, especially in those periods whereby they're like saying Porter is about to close, go and pay your school fees. You will stand in a line. It might not be the same for you guys, for guys that went to school probably after like 2020 and the rest of them. But if you went to school early, like 2013, 2014, 2015, 2016, 2017-ish, right, you would have experienced that problem at least once. Right, you will line up, you see other students lining up, they'll tell you print your remitter slip, you print your remitter slip. I think you even have to withdraw the cash. No, you have to withdraw cash. So you have to go and withdraw cash, and the cash has to be the exact amount because they don't even have time to give you change. And then you go to the bank and stand in a queue. So you see that the way of solving that problem was so frustrating, right? It was so difficult, right? In fact, some people made businesses by saying, hey, I'll help you and go and pay your school fees. So what they do is that they already have backyard connection. Right? So when they go there, they can pay 5 people's school fees at the same time or 7 people's school fees at the same time. And that was that they were charging people extra for doing that. So that's an example of an unworkable problem, meaning that the current way people solve it, it is so inefficient, it is so frustrating, it is so expensive. So what are the questions you want to ask yourself to know if this is an unworkable problem? Are people using any manual processes or some kind of way to solve that problem particularly now? So they're not just ignoring the problem, they are actively trying some way to solve the problem. The second question you want to ask yourself is, does the solution that they even have now, is it even better for them, or are they still so much suffering for it at the end of the day? Right? So that's what's going to tell you if this problem is unworkable. It means that the way they are solving it currently, it is so difficult, it is so frustrating. There are some things that people think that are a workable problem, but are not a workable problem. Right? I've seen some people say, oh, we're going to build websites. We're going to build websites for businesses. You can upload your catalog and shoes and all of that. And the business is like, oh, nice. But the business is still selling over WhatsApp and their WhatsApp status, because to them, it's not a difficult thing for them to do. It's your own website that is even difficult for them at the end of the day, right? Does that answer your question?
Yes, sir. Thank you very much.
You're welcome. You're welcome. So, guys, what I'm saying for the assignments you guys want to do here, might take my time to read like a couple. If you guys send it to my email, which I'm going to share with you guys later, is take about 3 customer segments that you want to your problem that you want to solve affects them, and break it down into the 4 U's. Right? Does this customer segment, for example, let's say you want to sell to businesses, right? But there are businesses that are restaurants, right? There are businesses that are self-owned businesses. There are businesses that have multiple stores. The way they relate to the same problem is different, right? Because they have different parameters. You want to walk them through the 4 U's, right? And see where they fall under. So guys, I'm going to jump in very quickly, need to move forward. Is one of the key tools that you get to do to help you is a business model canvas. So the business model canvas is a visual representation of the 9 key building blocks that form the foundations of every business. So basically what a business model canvas does is that it helps you put your thoughts on paper, right? To help you figure out, what am I testing? What am I experimenting? What do I believe currently about my business, right? And how is my business evolving over time? So that's what the business model canvas is, also known as a lean model canvas. You can also find it as a lean model canvas. So why is this so popular? Is it is very simple, right? It helps you kind of like answer very important questions, right? So for example, just like the way the 4 U's help you break down should you actually be solving the problem for, right? The business model canvas basically helps you put your thoughts about your business, the most important things, on paper. So next we're going to look at is, so what are the key building blocks that we've talked about on building the business? We're looking at looking at customer segments. We've been talking about customer segments and how, depending on your customer segment, you won't have the same, they won't value your solution the same way, right? For example, if you are building an app to help people manage their time and you're trying to sell to students, right? It's valuable to them, right? But they're not going to pay you 100K a month for you to give them something to help them manage their time. It's not just impossible. But now imagine you're saying that same time stuff to people, to working class people, right? Working class people have a much urgent need for why they need a time management software or a time management app. Now imagine you are selling it to CEOs, right? CEOs of multinational companies. Those people have a way more higher need because every single time that they have is worth millions of dollars, right? So if you tell them that, oh, my stuff is going to help you solve this problem, I'm going to pay me $1 million for it, they'll happily pay you for it, right? So it's not just to say that, this is not to say don't build for students or don't build software for students. It's to understand the mechanism of what you are dealing with so that you can properly strategize and plan properly. Value propositions, right? So value proposition is simply, what am I offering them, right? What am I offering them, right? What am I offering them? What am I offering them? Depending on who you're selling to, right? They might not nearly have the same offering. They might be around the same problem, but the offering will be different, right? So for example, like the lady that told us about, I think I was Hepzibah. I was like, oh, I want to help people ensure that they get the best sizes and measurements, right? If you're trying to sell to a school, your value proposition is not just helping them get the right sizes and measurements. It is helping them ensure that each student is accounted for. It's helping them ensure that it matches the specific color of their uniform, right? It's helping them ensure that, so you see that it hasn't even gone beyond just helping them get the right size. There are other things to it that have to ensure that they get the best value from your solution. So we're also going to look at customer relationships, right? What are the relationships? How do you relate to your customers? How do you interact with them? Where do you reach out to them from? All of those important things. Revenue streams, how do you make money? Like I said, there's some of these things that you want to do that will be very fantastic as an NGO, fantastic as a non-profit, but would be a very terrible business, right? Like I said, this is not to say don't do an NGO or don't build a business, but understand what you are actually doing, right? So key resources, let me just get into it so we can have a much deeper look at it. So for the customer segments, you want to define the different groups of people or organizations your business aims to reach and serve. So like if you're doing that for use, right, define the different groups of people that are going to find your stuff valuable, right? I listen to students, working class, freelancers, define all of them, right? That your business aims to reach and serve. Group them into two, right? Which of the ones that are your top priority? Which are the ones are probably as a business grows, you want to expand to those people. So break it down into primary and secondary customer segments. For your value proposition, you want to look at what is the unique value of your product that your service offers to each customer segment. If your stuff has completed the 4 use, or it means that your stuff is very, very valuable and it's also very unique, right? But at the same time, unique doesn't necessarily mean that it doesn't exist in this world, right? That's not what unique means. Unique could be for who are you selling it to. Unique could be for how are you pricing it? And I'll give you an example. Example was Microsoft, right? Microsoft was the ones that created Word documents, right? And it was paid. You had to pay to use it. I don't know. That's how many of us experienced that Microsoft Word activation key issue. I don't know if it's still a problem, but product activation key. You need to be looking for somebody to give you Microsoft activation key because those stuff were paid, right? What did Google do? Google came in and gave it for free, right? So you say that did Google really do a unique thing in terms of the product itself? No, but they brought in something unique with how they were pricing it, and that broke the market. Right. So unique is not basically just in your product, right? Oh, my product has this nice color. A lot of this is no. Unique is basically in how you deliver the experience. Who are you selling to, right? How do you charge for it? How do you deliver the experience, of that. You also want to look at your channels. How would you reach your customer? Right? A lot of times we don't think about that. We think about our problem, we think about solution, we don't think about where we're going to reach our customer. Right? So it's very important you think about, where am I going to reach my customer? Where can I get access to them? Right? There's some concepts about what we're probably going to talk about on the other facilitators are going to talk about, which is called founder market fit. What do you mean by founder market fit? I saw some of your profiles whereby somebody was I can't remember, but was like, oh, I'm a doctor and I'm doing this. Right? You will find out that our initial customers comes from people she already knows. Right? Or, oh, I'm an engineer and I'm doing this. Right? You find out that initial customers come from people she already know. Right? So for example, I think it was, I don't know who said that, or said that, oh, the solution that she was diagnostics to, right? She said, oh, for people that already know me, right? So meaning that she already has a relationship with our target customers, and she can easily reach those people those ways, right? So you want to look at, how would your business reach out to these people? How would you get your first customers? Where are you going to find them, right? So for example, a lot of people say, oh, I will run digital ads, but you don't have money for ads yet. But you are in your channels, you're putting ads. Why are you putting ads, right? So this business model canvas is a reflection of where you are now in your business. It is going to evolve, it is going to change, it's going to grow, but from where you are now, not where you're going to be in the future. Don't say, oh, we're going to be running ads, we're going to be doing events, we're going to be doing all this stuff, but you don't have money to do events now. You don't have plans of doing events in the next 12 months, so don't put it here, right? Focus on what you can do now. What can you do in the next 2 weeks? What is available for you in the next 1 week? What's available in the next 30 days at most of your business model canvas in terms of the channel? So you're looking at where you are currently. Are we following, guys? I know I'm accelerating here because I need to wrap up in a bit. Are we following, guys? All right. Thank you, guys. We're also going to look at customer relationship. Explain the type of relationship you establish with each customer segment, right? For example, my company, we sell majorly to enterprises, some of the largest companies in Nigeria. But our relationship are more of on a one-to-one basis, right? They have my WhatsApp number, they can call me directly, we can coordinate over email, but mostly WhatsApp moves things faster. Right? And it's an enterprise company to get. So you want to look at, what are the relationships you want to establish with your customer? Is it going to be personal? Are they going to be able to reach out to you? I have some of my customers that I'm going to attend their wedding, not because I like going out, but it's the relationship, right? So how do you want to relate to your customers? Revenue streams is, how would you make money? I know there's some of you here that don't like making money, right? You'll be like, oh, I just want to do this to impact the world. You're not going to be one of the best ways to impact the world is to build a really, really large company, right? I know you want to impact the world, right? So be like, I cannot charge more than 10 naira for this, so I'm going to feel very guilty. I understand. I really understand. But trust me, you'll be able to impact the world a lot more if you build a really, really large company. Think about all of the people that you're going to employ. Right, you're going to have thousands of employees. I think the most people that are making the biggest impact in the world are the largest companies. How many staffs does Google have? 40,000. That's 40,000. If everybody has an average of 5 family members, they are basically reaching about 200,000 more people, that their lives are very good, that they are able to send their kids to school, they're able to add happiness. Right. So if you want to make an impact in this world, you want to build a really, 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 really large company, right? If you can do that, you're going to make so much impact. And if you make so much profit, you can now use the profit to do shalaye. Yeah. So guys, we want to look at, how would you make money, right? Like I said, the way you make money can also be very unique, right? You can say, oh, is there a way that, oh, these people have to, for example, when telcos, for those that are a bit older, right, millennials here, you remember when telcos came into the country, then what they were doing was you use the airtime and then you pay monthly, right? They found out that in Nigeria that doesn't work, right? That doesn't work. In other parts of the world, you use internet connection and you pay monthly. But I realized that the best way to serve Nigeria or to serve this year is to do pay as you go, right? So the difference, the unique thing that they brought here was pay as you go. So that's why you have to now recharge your line before you're able to use it, or you have to subscribe for data before you're able to use it. If it was in the early days, you have access to data, all of these things, and then you pay monthly. So revenue streams are very, very important. So yeah, you want to look at key resources. You want to look at key resources. How are you going to define, deliver your value proposition, right? What do you need to deliver it? So for example, the lady that talked about that's a mechanical engineer, she says she has to have a diagnostic tool, right? That's an asset that she has to use, right? She also has to maintain relationships. She has somebody on her call, that there's a job that she cannot handle, she can put that person on call that can support her with delivering that value. That is a key resource, right? So that is not just, it could be human, it could be financial, it could be physical, it could be intellectual. You want to list out your key resources. Now, I'm not saying what you're going to have in the future. I'm not saying what you're going to have. Don't tell me 10,000 staff. You don't have 10,000 staffs yet. Focus on what you have now. That's what I want to see, what you have now. And your business model canvas is an evolving, brilliant document. I want to look at key activities. One of the most important activities that are required to execute your business model. That's also very, 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 very important. So we look at steps to creating a business model. If you have a team, that's cool. Gather your team and brainstorm ideas for each of those components. Who is going to find this valuable? So you want to start out with your customer segment. Who's going to find this valuable? Also, we'll look at what is the value proposition I want to do. Like for the example that I mentioned with I think it was Hepzibah that wants to help people ensure they get the right measurements and stuff, right? So for example, with even if the person is if you're trying to serve people that order online, it might be also that the fact that not just that they want to order those stuffs, right? But they need it delivered to their door, right? So that's also a value proposition that is additional to it that makes it so much valuable for them. So you want to define your customer segment, your value proposition, and then how would you reach these customers? Some of you already have communities. That is your channel, right? Some of you already have, you're a worker in the church. That is your channel, right? Some of you, you have colleagues at work, and this is something that's valuable. That's your channel, right? What are you starting with right now? This is not what you're going to be with forever, but where are you starting right now with mapping out your channels? Establish your customer relationships, right? So I think the lady that is an engineer, right? She has a one-to-one relationship with her customers, right? They call her, she goes to wherever they need to and runs the diagnostic. It's a personal relationships, right? She's probably going to evolve to the point whereby they call her, she sends somebody else, right? But currently, what are those relationships that you have currently now with or you want to establish your customers? Then also, very importantly, how do you want to make money? Right? How do you want to make money? Right? How do you want to make money? I think there's some other facilitators that are going to really delve into money, pricing, how to structure your pricing, and all of those things. But how do you want to make money? One of the crazy things that I experienced as an entrepreneur was when I was doing a presentation and I told people how much we charge, and their jaws nearly dropped on the floor. People were like, are you able to charge this? I'm like, we can't. Our customers are not complaining. They're happy about it, right? Because of the value that we deliver. Everybody's jaw was on the floor, right? So yeah, you want to decide how do you want to make money, right? How do you want to make money? You can have multiple revenue streams, so please, for now, keep it under two, no more than two. Don't have 15 ways to make money. Where we're going to make money by charging subscription, then we're going to make money by charging these people, then we're going to collect money from these people, then we're going to split it and do this one. We're going to do that. Please don't do that. Just two is fine. One is even better. Two is fine at most. Don't have 5. Don't have 10. Right? Just pick 2 core ways, or one is even better of how you're going to make money. Right? Other ways can come up as you grow. For example, some of the largest companies, they don't make money from one way, but they started out from one way, right? Key resources, what would you need? So I want you to think of the business model canvas as your current hypothesis about your business. Now, this is where your understanding of your business is currently, and you want to test and experiment to see, is this actually true, right? That's where your current business is, right? We'll look at what are the key partnerships. I would say don't so much fixate on partnership stuff, because if it's a partnership stuff, you don't have the human resources, it just stretches you a lot. But you can probably identify 1 or 2 partners. For example, I think there's a lady I saw that's going to be running a program or a training program or something. Imagine she partners with a local church, right? That's the kind of partnership that can get you to your target customers as fast as possible. So partnerships are good, right? But you don't want to fixate on partnership that's going to take you a lot from you, or you have to stretch out a lot just to get that partnership. There are better ways of reaching your customer. And I want to calculate your cost structure. Yes, what is it going to cost you to run a business currently, right? What are you going to be paying for, right? There are some things that are nice to have, yeah. There are some things that are important to have. So you want to calculate, what are the costs of running my business? If somebody pays me 10 naira, how much would I pay, right? How much would I pay to help them to solve this problem for them? Would I pay 10 naira back, so meaning that I made nothing? Or would I pay 18 naira, meaning that I'm over helping them and I'm the one losing money? Or would I, if they give me 10 naira, I spend 3 naira, I spend 4 naira, and I make 6 naira back? So you want to really calculate, is this business feasible? And that's why I said that not everything deserves to be a business. There are some things that are initiatives, non-profits, right? Meaning that it's not so much of going to be a viable business, right? So you want to be very honest about what your cost structure is and how you want to solve the business. So the tools that you can use, there's the lead model canvas. You can search it online, lead model canvas, to help you put up these things together. That can help you do that, and so on and so forth. That can help you do that. But one of the things that people don't really understand about business is that, which I'm going to say, is that for business, you can create value, but you might not be able to capture that value, right? So, for example, about Einstein was one of the smartest people on the earth in his time, but he was not the richest. And I think that for those that are in science, there was this thing about Thomas Jefferson. Was it Thomas? Not Thomas Jefferson. Thomas Edison. And what's the other guy's name? The guy that invented, what's his name? Is he? For those in science class, you guys should help me out. There's this guy that did the AC motor or something. I think his name is something. It was like a competition to Thomas Edison. But anyways, what am I saying, right? I'm saying that Thomas Edison was one of the richest people. Tesla, Nikola Tesla, right? Thomas Edison was a businessman, right? People would argue and say he was not that smart. He was just taking advantage of people. One of the things about Thomas Edison was that he knew how to create value, but he also knew how to capture that value, right? That's why you have electricity today. But Nikola Tesla was arguably even more smarter than Thomas Edison. He was able to create so much value. He invented the AC motor, the DC motor. He made very crucial inventions, but he was not able to capture that value. So the fact that your business, you are trying to solve a problem for some people, or trying to create a solution, does not mean that you can always be able to capture that value. So if you don't have the right structure in place, you don't have the right revenue model in place, you don't have the right organizational structure in place, you don't have the right channels to reach those customers, you might as well create that value, but you would not be able to capture that value, right? So, and that's why people say the world is not a fair place, because they look at people that are creating value, but are not capturing enough of that value. But they look at people that, what value is this person creating in this world? But why is this person getting so much of it, right? Those things are independent. You need to understand how to create value, but also very importantly, how to capture that value. So in summary, right, for your idea, let's not say ideas anymore. Let's talk about problems, right? Nobody's out to steal your idea, right? If you like, post your idea on Facebook and all of that. If you don't work your ass off on the idea, it's not going to come to fruition, right? And usually, I can bet you your first idea is a very terrible one. You've just not started it out to figure out how to. It's very terrible, right? If you talk to almost any entrepreneur, what the idea they thought they started with was not what they ended up working on. It was just a pathway. So if you've been sitting on an idea for the past 2 years and say, oh, I've just been looking at my idea and I've Googled a couple of things, nobody's done my idea. Sorry. I hate to be the bearer of bad news, but you're wasting so much time, right? You're wasting so much time and on something that might be very, very terrible, right? Even if your idea is worth $1 million, right? It's going to take a lot of effort, a lot of time, and you should be happy, right? Because it's going to be so painful. There are going to be very few people that are going to try to come after you. It's going to be so painful. So if your idea is difficult or your problem you're solving is very difficult, be happy about it. Be happy. Be happy about it because there's going to be very few people that will be able to come after you. So guys, work on the assignments that I told you guys to do. Define your problem, define who you're solving that problem for, and then walk through the 4 U's, right? Define at least 3 customer segments. Walk through the 4 U's, right? Walk through the 4 U's of avoidable, unavoidable, unworkable, undeserved, and urgent, right? And see which boxes are they tick. Then the other X thing that is doing that you want to start out with an experiment to test your idea. Go out and talk to people, right? Talk to your target customers, right? Even if you've not built your product, try to sell it. One thing I want to say is follow the approach of demo, sell, then build. I sold to a bank before I had the solution. I sold to a bank. I sold to one of the largest startups in Nigeria before I had the solution, right? I sold to one of the largest accessory providers in Nigeria before I had the solution. So if you're thinking that, oh, I need to have built everything about my stuff, you're wasting a lot of time, right? What you want to do is that once you map out who your target customers are, go and meet them, talk to them, and ask them, hey, do you have this problem? I can help you solve this problem. Are you going to pay this amount for it, right? And if you're going to do that and they pay you for it, then you know for real that you have something that is indeed very valuable, and then you can put a lot of your time, effort, and energy to deliver on the outcome. Is that okay, guys? Yes, so I'm going to take a couple of questions. Guys. I think Confidence has Confidence want to ask a couple of questions, and then Hepzibah, any other person coming in now. Please, guys, have your hands up now, so I know the number of people are asking their questions. I'm seeing the names that I've been seeing before, so I think Confidence is the only one that is new. What about the rest of us, ladies and ladies? Right, I'm the only gentleman here. All right, so Confidence, please go on, talk to me.
Okay, good morning.
Yeah, good morning, Confidence.
Firstly, I want to ask if you can be able to access the material which you used. Maybe if you can share it with us.
Yeah, Founder City would do that for you guys, right?
Okay.
Just work with them on that.
All right, that was my question.
We'll stop, no problem. Any other, I didn't help you, but you raised your hand. You want to go on? Hello, Hepzibah, are you there?
Yes, I'm there. Thank you so much for
Yeah,
everything you've taught us. Can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you.
Hello? Okay.
I
So
can hear
my
you. I can
question
hear you.
is, okay. My question is, what if what you are building is actually for yourself? For instance, my idea, okay, so it's an idea, what I want to solve is actually like for myself, kind of. Maybe I want to build a fashion industry and stuff like that, and I know that this is one thing that will help me. I don't know if you understand. So what if it's not actually for other persons to use, but it's still for myself and the company I plan to build or I'm currently working on?
So yeah, one of the advantages about solving a problem that you yourself have is that you have a very good insight to if you figured it out or not, because you are a user of it, right? But at the same time, it does not talk about the economic potential. It only talks about there's a problem and this can solve the problem. But it also means that it is solving the problem based on your own habits, right? There are different ways people interact with a lot of different things. So the thing is that if that's a good way to start, right? Because if it's a personal problem, you can really, really start out with a very good idea of what the solution can look like. But do not be surprised that when you try to give that to somebody else, and the person is like, "Well, I don't feel it the same way you feel it," right? So what you want to do, right? For example, when we started out our stuff, it was a problem that we personally experienced, right? We faced the problem, so we had a very good idea of what the solution could be, right? Now there are two types of people that interact with the problem, right, or a product of a problem, right? There's who you call the user, and there's who you have the customer. The users are the people that use the product. The customers are the people that pay for the product. Now, the customers and the user can be the same people, meaning that you're the user and you're the customer, but sometimes there could be different people. So you want to understand for this particular product or problem that I'm solving, who is the user and who is the customer, and are they the same people? Another thing I've also seen is that you want to evaluate how important that problem is to you by paying for it yourself, right? So meaning that so if you are solving a problem for yourself, and that problem you think that, oh, people find it valuable for $10 or 10,000 a month, remove 10,000 from your money. Now, I don't not because you are paying the money to yourself, you're not gonna eat it by the side. Remove it and lock it. Do all those piggy verse locking that you can lock it for a long time, and you're able to touch it and see how it affects your life. If you still find that problem very painful as it is when you are taking money from your own pocket, that should also give you a good feeling about it. But at the same time, find people that are close to you about that problem. If you are solving the problem based on your profession, find other people in that profession and see if they share the same problem. If you are solving that problem based on your location, find other people in that location and see if they have the same problem. If you are solving the problem based on your demography, find other people in that demography and see if they have the same problem. But if they do not, it's just simply a tool for you to have in your hand. And if it solves your problem for you, that's good, but it might not be valuable to anybody else. Is that okay?
Yes. Thank you so much.
All right. You're welcome. Olariwaju Tibilehin, want to go on?
Good morning, sir. Please confirm that you can hear me.
Yes, I can hear you.
Okay. So my question is, I just need a little bit of clarification because you mentioned something. You said there's a type of idea you would want to build around that will be very good for an NGO, but it's going to be very bad for a business. So now,
Okay.
my business idea, I've not really started, but it is just it is still in the ideation stage, and it is like a combination of two aspects, like two branches. So I wouldn't call, I'm not a fashion designer, but my business is more like, a type of brand. I would rather call it a fashion distribution brand. I have this idea of collaborating with fashion designers, very fashion designers, get them to design, come up with ideas, build ideas, come up with very, very beautiful designs such that even African prints will be able to compete on global stage. So it is more like we are not the one designing, but would be, getting African prints from different parts of Africa, Namibia, Ghana, such that when you walk into our store, there's a section for Gambia prints, there is a section for Tanzania print, there's a section for Nigeria print, and everything is designed in such a way that they are ready to wear. They are not designed in such a way that, okay, you can only wear them to church, you can only wear them on Sundays. We want to have a sector where there will be designs that people can even wear to work on Mondays. I don't know if you get the idea I'm trying to bring here. Now, the other aspect of the business,
Let's take it one step at a time, right? For what you said, right? You want to have a store, right, whereby you collaborate with designers across Africa. that creates clothes, right, or designs, whatever you guys call that, that are not just fashion statements, but are also convenient wares, right, for everyday use cases or for more common use cases, such that people can buy and people can use that for a lot of ranges of use cases and not just to make fashion statements. Is that what you're saying?
Yes, and even where it incorporates organizations.
Okay, that's fine. So, what's the second part of your problem? Don't say idea, say problem. What's the second part?
So the second part would be that I want to have an NGO alongside. So the money realized from this business will be channeled into the NGO. You know, I've been someone that has always been passionate about, you know, every child having equal access to reaching their full potential, regardless of their works, regardless of their financial situation, regardless of their environment. So the second aspect is that I want to have a foundation whereby we can help, apart from just advocating for children going to school, we want to be able to help street involved children back to classes, equip them with the right resources to reach their fullest potentials. So my question would be that, do you think that the both ideas could work hand in hand, or do you think it is like you stated earlier, a good idea might be good for an NGO but not good for a business? Do you think it's something that could work?
Have you done anything to test out this idea? Have you?
No, I haven't. I haven't.
Okay. So I cannot say authoritatively if this is a good idea or not, because that's why I don't like saying ideas, because there are ideas that sound very terrible, but has become very big global businesses. For example, the idea of Airbnb. Airbnb basically is a platform to rent spaces in people's homes, right? So you can stay. That's a crazy thing. Imagine your house now, somebody's come to stay in your house, somebody you don't know before. That's a crazy thing, right? So it sounds like a bad idea, but it's a very, very amazing business. So that's why I don't like us saying ideas, because there are some ideas that we hype up, right? This is cool. You know, there was a point where, you know, you're even afraid to talk about your idea because they're like, this person is doing AI, blockchain, and surgery in one. Me, I'm trying to say more and more. And then you feel like your ideas are not good, right? So there's nothing like a good idea. There's not like a bad idea. There's just simply a good business, or a good business, a bad business, a very important problem, a very nice to have problem. So there's also something I mentioned earlier, that is the customer and the user, right? The user uses the product, but is not necessarily the customer, right, for the product, right? While the customer is who pays for the product. So if I look out for your business, the user or the endpoint user, right, even though the customer that pays for your product will still get the stuff, but you're like, I want to channel something to give out to people. For example, there was a business at some point that what they did to our customer was that if you buy a shoe, we're going to give a pair of shoe to a kid in Africa. So for every shoe that you bought, they're also going to give a pair of shoes to the kid. It's not like it's going to be the same shoe they're going to give, but of course they're going to try to give a kid in Africa a shoe. And for a while, people bought into the vision, people bought into the idea. They felt good that, you're buying a shoe from these guys, right? And they're going to give it a shoe. But what killed them was that the unit economics was not working. It wasn't working, right? And that was why the business closed. So before you're able to do your charity, what I would say is that you want to start out with the core business, right? You want to start out with a core business and understand what the unit economics are. Because if you make 20 naira and you want to do initiative of 21 naira, you're already losing and your business will not survive, right? So what do you do? Start out with one who's going to generate the money now, right? Do people want to buy African prints, right? Do you have designers on board? Get them, start selling. Understand what your unit economics are, and then start with an initiative that works within your unit economics, right? So meaning that, oh, if you are making 20 naira in profit, right, at the end of after everything you've done in the business, you can start out with initiatives that cost 5 naira, right? And then you can start building out from there. So is it possible to do both of these things? Yes, but it's something that has to come one after the other, right? You don't, if you do both of them simultaneously, except you have a large money in the bank, which even if you do, I would advise you to still do both of them at the same time, because you need to understand what is feasible, what is possible, right? For you to then do that. Is that okay?
Yes, it is. Thank you.
So start out with business. I think your stuff could, your business, start out with the core assumptions. I think there's no time to cover this, but I was going to talk about when to know when to give up. A lot of people don't know when to give up. I know we don't like talking about when to give up. Like go hard, go in. But a lot of people don't know when to give up on certain ideas. But don't worry, guys. Don't worry, guys. There's going to be a lot of people that's going to talk about a lot of things, so you guys are probably going to get an idea about that. Next person. Evergreen. Sure, go on.
All right, good morning. Thank you.
Good morning.
Yeah, so you mentioned bad good ideas and a good business. So I was wondering, what would you say distinguishes, or is there a factor that can actually what distinguishes a good or bad idea from a good business? What factor, is there any factor that could, okay, this, it might not be a good idea, or it's a bad idea, or it's a good idea, but somehow it becomes a good business and it's very profitable. Yeah.
Okay. So ideas in its own are very deceptive, right? Because a lot of ideas, when people start celebrating you for your ideas, it begins to cloud. Like I said, a lot of people tell the stories about founders and building business. They skip a lot of things in the middle, right? They just said he had this idea and boom, $1 billion company. It skips a lot of things in the middle, right? It skips a lot of things, and I can tell you that for free. When we started out with what we wanted to work on, a lot of people thought that wasn't really so much of a good idea, right? But what we had was somebody that starts out with a hypothesis, right? So the hypothesis is like, oh, if this is true, right, then I believe that my stuff is going to work out if this is true. So, for example, I'll use Timile's business idea. One of the most fundamental hypotheses that she has to prove is, do people want to wear African prints, right, to work? Are there enough of people that want to wear African prints to work in such a way that it is sustainable for the business? So meaning that it's not that people just want to buy African prints, it's that they want to buy African prints for to replace their everyday contemporary wears that they wear, right? For that to become a very, very viable business. So that is a very fundamental hypothesis that needs to be proven when she starts executing on that business. If that hypothesis is not proven, right, it's found that to be wrong, and there's no way she can adjust the hypothesis to become a viable business, then it's not going to work out. For example, what was Uber's hypothesis? Uber's hypothesis was that people were going to pay, right? People were going to pay to ride in a stranger's car. That was what it was. People were going to pay to ride in a stranger's car. They wouldn't mind riding in a stranger's car. Before Uber, they had regulated taxi people that were under a formal association. Not everybody could be a taxi driver. So meaning that they could track exactly who was a taxi driver, right? But the thing about that was that it took a lot of time. It was so painful that people were really frustrated about that. It was an unworkable problem, right? And they figured out my hypothesis is that to solve this problem, people would not mind riding in a stranger's car. Somebody that they don't know, or somebody that there's not an established regulatory entity that is guiding these people. And that was the behavior that they test, and then they placed their bets on, and they won. So usually with problems is that if your problem does not necessitate a change in behavior, right? If your problem doesn't necessitate a change in behavior that is sustainable, people are not going to adapt. People are not going to use it. So it's not a question of whether there's a good idea or bad ideas. There are very good ideas that don't work out, not because of the idea is not good. For example, the brand that was giving one shoe for every was giving a kid shoe when you buy a shoe. It's a good idea. It's a nice thing, right? But the economics was not working, right? So even if it was a good idea, it just wasn't working. So what am I saying in essence is that we want to think about what are the good problems to solve, is that you want to look at problems whereby you can create a large enough value and capture a large enough value from it. You create a large value, you capture also a very large value. If you cannot capture a value, you can create a good value, but not capture enough of it, you will not survive. And that's what differentiates ideas, whether they are good or bad, that become very good businesses, because those businesses have been able to create a very good idea, a very good opportunity, and capture a lot of that opportunity for themselves, right? So for Uber dominates across cities in the world. Almost 1 in 4 rides that are taken, 2 in 4 rides that are taken across major cities across the world is an Uber, right? So they created a very large value, and they were also able to capture a large value for themselves. So if you're thinking about it as a business, it's not just how can I create a large value, how can I create opportunities, or how can I solve this very big problem? You also want to think, how do I capture this problem? How do I capture enough? And when capturing enough, you're talking about revenue. How do I make enough money for this to become sustainable? Because that's what it boils down to. You're not making enough money. You yourself as a business person, you're going to get frustrated, right? Because you're not able to get the best people on board. You're not able to expand the business. You're not able to do more. You're not able to deliver better solution, right? You're supposed to build a much better app, but now AWS cloud is collecting like $10,000 a month and it's suffocating, right? You yourself as an entrepreneur will not be able to create even much value because of the constraints. So good idea, bad idea, that's not a thing. It's about what's the value you're creating with the problem you want to solve, and most importantly, how much can you capture from that value?
Thank you so much. Yes, I get it. Thank you.
So one more question, guys. I have to jump off. Joel, one more question, Joel. And it's been an amazing time with you, lovely ladies. So, Joel, last person, you want to go on?
Okay, sir. Thank you. I'm sure you can hear me, right?
Yes, I can.
Okay. So, is it bad to my idea? I've already started actually, but it's service based. Okay, so I have been scared of starting, you understand, because I'm like, what if it's not good enough? What if I don't really know it all and all of that? But then I came across a mentorship program where, because my idea was to help business owners struggling with debt, financial literacy, and all of that, to educate them about how to run their business financially. So so and I started, currently this is the 3rd month now, and I started it's the program was for 4 months. It's for 4 months, and this is the 3rd month. They're actually seeing progress and all, but then people are like, I should start charging and all of that and all of that, but I'm still scared, word, because I noticed that along the line I don't really know it all, and I'm just like as if I'm learning on the job. You understand?
Yeah, I understand.
Yes, that's what I'm learning on the job, and then I don't really know it all, and I'm still learning and learning. But though they are seeing progress, and then it now feels like I'm not good enough because I'm still learning. Do you get?
So yeah, you're not always ever going to feel like you're good enough. That's one thing. I remember when the first bank deal that I closed, and they asked me, why should we work with you? Right? What I told them was, see, I have something to prove. They were gonna pay money for it. It wasn't free. I told them I have something to prove to you guys, right? For the other guys that you guys have as partners working on this with you guys, you're just a logo on their website, right? You're just another one of their customers. But for us, right? But for me, for us, our company at the time, right? We have a lot to prove. We have our name to prove, right? So you can trust us that we're going to do whatever it takes to deliver on that value. That is your commitment that you're making. Is that what they are buying is that this person is going to do whatever it takes, right? And the thing about it is that as you begin to stack up those wins, you want to help businesses get out of debt, right? So as you begin to stack up those things, you help your first business get out of debt. You help your second business to get out of debt. You help your third business get out of debt. You help your fourth business get out of debt. It's going to get to a point where you say the like is your words will change. The way you talk about it will change, right? But you have to do enough volume. The reason why you don't feel as confident as possible now is that you've not done enough volume, right? And number two is that you want to, another thing that could help you start charging right now is that tie your value offering to outcomes and say, hey, I'm going to cut down your debt or your help you resolve your debt in so time. You're going to pay this amount, right? If I don't deliver on this, you don't pay. So you don't have anything to lose, right? So by the time you start taking those bets on yourself, there's going to get to a point whereby you know your craft, you understand your craft, you have your piece behind your craft, right? And then you can say, hey, you're gonna have to pay upfront, and I'm gonna help you solve this out because you are now confident you know how to do it. So in summary, what do you need to do, right? You want to stack up more, right? Stack up more under your belt. Oh, you helped your first business to resolve a debt of 400K. You have to second business, resolve a debt of social amounts, whatever it is, right? And start stacking that on your belt. Second thing is that you want to charge your pricing based on outcomes, right? Say, hey, what do you have to risk? Nothing. If you don't help the business to solve their problem, they don't lose, right? And then you learn a lot of lessons on how you can figure out. Say, hey, this is what we're going to do. We'll deliver this for you, right? In this time, you pay this. We don't deliver, you don't pay. Does that sound okay? And it's a no-brainer for them because it's like they don't have anything to lose. Their money is not there, right? So, if they want you to succeed even. Right. So what you're going to see from all those businesses are that they're going to put in so much effort for you to succeed. Because if you succeed, they also succeed. Right. So it's not that when you have such prices, but it doesn't mean that they'll be waiting for you to fail. They fail, it means that they are doomed. Right. So stack up a lot more than your belt. Right. For those that are not feeling like you can do this, the best way for you to get rid of those feelings, there's no magical words that you have to say. There's no early morning chants that you have to chant to yourself and say, I'm a winner. I wake up a winner. I go to bed a winner. God has given me. That's not what you need. You need to stack up enough on your belt, right? And then if you're scared about charging, charge directly to outcome. If I deliver for you for this, you pay. If I don't deliver, you don't pay. So it's no risk for them and no risk for you, right? But if you want to start getting to the point whereby you're now confident in your craft, please charge your money, right? You want to have a clear idea of what you want to charge because you've done the work and you know what it takes.
Okay. All right. Thank you.
All right. Thank you very much to the founder. You guys should thank the founder people. Like they didn't come after my neck because I took a lot of time, right? Really want to appreciate Ulumide. She's done an amazing job, right? I was here for the first one, the second one. I want you guys to appreciate. Don't take this for granted. Right? A lot of times people are like, oh, women are being marginalized. Yes, we understand that those things are there, but you guys have to change that narrative, right? How many of you guys are here? About 19, 18 of you guys here. Imagine 18 of you guys here, and you guys build a solid business, right? That's you encourage a lot of other women that are growing up. You encourage a lot of younger girls that are coming up to do more, right? So I want to appreciate you guys. And please, if you haven't, give yourself a clap for yourself, right? Pat yourself on the back. You started a very amazing journey at the end of the day. So thank you very much to the Founder City team. The work was, this is one of the best programs I always look forward to attending because their structure, the organization is always on point. So thank you guys for having me here to talk to you guys. I wish we can spend the whole day, but we'll probably most likely will meet in heaven or on earth, whichever one. So thank you very much, guys. Have a lovely day. Look forward to seeing the amazing stuff you guys are doing. Connect with me on LinkedIn. You can always find me as Reward Perfection on LinkedIn. Probably when I have time, you guys can send me a message. I'll try to respond to as much as I can. And then I want to look forward that next year when I'm coming and the mentors I'm seeing founder city participants of cohort 1, cohort 2 that are mentoring the next set of women. It's going to be an amazing thing. So thank you very much, everyone. To have a lovely day.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much, Reward. So guys, so he has given us some things to do, right? So Reward, before you leave, I think he has left already. So we're going to get the email in which he would want you guys, if you want to catch up with him, share some of the things he has said you should share with him for review, so that you can share it with him and get receive feedback on your work. Well done. So Mogbojulolu, I'm going to, should I hand over or you're going to take it from here?
I just thank you so much, everyone. And like Olumide said, you can always reach out to me on. I just also need our feedback from tell us what you thought about the class, your ideas, and what it's great to hear from everyone. And thank you for everyone for being and also for the opening role in
I think your voice is a bit mumbled. Mogbojulolu.
Is it better now?
Okay, awesome.
Okay. Yes. So I was also saying that everybody's going to get to know who their partner is before the end of this week, before the next session, so that you can, have your ideas with them, rub minds with them, and really it one-on-one. We have the feedback form also in the group on the chats now. You can just fill it. We would love everyone on the call to fill it. You're going to get the recordings for this session so that you can listen to it again, and also a slide. You'll be sent that for Monday as well. You're going to get all of that. So well done to everyone. Thank you so much for attending. We're going to see you next section, same time. Please be early and put into action what you've learned. There are tasks at the back of the site, so please do them as well. Thank you so much. Have a great day.
Before we all leave, can we just try to fill the feedback forms so that we can share it with Reward? So before you leave, please try and fill the feedback form. And we have a culture. So when you join a call, before you leave, always just say bye, even if it's just to unmute and just say bye. I know that for some of you that might be the first time you would actually speak. And one thing, if you guys notice, is that it's actually always very good to signify early if you would like to share your idea. It's always good for you to don't be shy when it comes to sharing your idea. Nobody is here to hijack, and as you've heard, nobody is going to be stealing your idea. It's all about the execution, and that execution is actually what you're here to actually know how you're going to go about that. So for those that actually really engaged and contributed, well done. I believe you got tangible feedbacks that you can work with. There's something we call the Sunday office hour. So the Sunday office hour is more like a 2-hour block where I give you access to my calendar. You can book a one-on-one with me. So on Sundays by 5 to 7 p.m., the link will be sent to the group. So what I would advise you to do is, for some of the things that Reward has already mentioned that you should do, please, I know today is Saturday, you might want to go for an Owambe, you have other things, but make sure that if you want to get feedback, or there are some other things you want to really discuss one-on-one, and you feel like you want to book a session, make sure you have those things done and ready ahead of the call that we'll have tomorrow, right? So please make sure you fill the feedback form. It is very, very, very important. And we are always looking out for those that, share feedback, because we need to get feedbacks to make sure that we're actually delivering more value, right? The slides for today, we'll make sure we send those in today. So the slides Reward used, we're going to send them, and an additional resource as well that we feel would also be very beneficial for you, even at this very stage. We're going to share that as well on the group. I'm seeing Evergreen. Evergreen, you mentioned you're not on the WhatsApp community. Did you fill the bio form?
Yes, I filled the bio form, but I think on the submission page, before I could click on the link, it closed by mistake. So I sent a mail requesting for another WhatsApp community link, but I don't think it was seen.
Oh, okay. Okay. Sorry about to hear about that. So we'll send that to your email shortly after this call, so you can just join the WhatsApp group.
Thank you.
Yeah. So please, guys, we'll not close the call yet. Please make sure you send in the feedback. It's very important that we get the feedbacks. Once you're done with the feedback, just feel free to unmute and just say thank you, bye bye, good night, have a great day, whichever, however it is you like to just say bye, and then you can leave the call. But we'll be here if anyone has any question, anything you would like to chip in, just let us know. But we'll just stay back for about 4 minutes. Then at 12:20, we would close the call. And thank you all so much for being patient. The idea is to actually always round up by 12. We'll try to stick to the time in future sessions, but we thank you for your patience as well.
Thank you very much. Bye.
Bye. Thank you, Dami. And I believe you're already, I can see you're already on the group.
Yes, thank you very much.
You're welcome.
Thank you
Thank
very
you.
much. Bye. And
Thank
You
I'm
very
going
much.
to
You're,
ask
Bye.
that is the
you're
link for
welcome.
feedback on the group already?
Bye, everyone.
So it is on this chat, but we're going to send it to the group now as well, so you can easily have access to that. Yeah,
Okay. Thank you very much.
it's already
Bye.
in the chat. You're welcome.
Thank you.
Bye. Bye.
Thank you very much. Bye.
Bye, you're welcome.
Thank you. Bye.
Bye, you're welcome.